Hey guys, welcome to another Critique the Community. I'm here with David Strauss today. Patrick is taking the day off. We're going to critique wedding photography, but if you'd like to be a part of the next critique, we've been racking our brain trying to decide what could the next genre be, and we've decided on repetition. At least I've decided on that.
Yeah, I don't know what this repetition means. Like, I don't see many genres of photography encapsulating repetition in their photos, but maybe this is time for the community to get really creative and show us repetition. What do you mean by repetition? What is your idea?
I've just seen, maybe a lot of it comes down to photoshopping things, replicating something. You could have a product that is replicated and flipped or something. You might have planes flying in formation, that would be repetition. You might have birds flying through a frame, that's repetition. So
maybe multiples is also like in there.
Maybe. I don't want to tell people what to do, but repetition is the genre. So upload your pictures, and let's get to this critique. Is this the highest rated photo here?
This is the highest rated photo, which it caught me off guard because underwater photography is not very common. So it's cool to see something that a little different as the highest rated. But you win a tutorial. I will be in touch with you with your Fstoppers account. To claim your prize, you can choose anything from the Fstoppers store. But yeah, let's rate this.
3, 2, 1. Okay, 3. You give it 3, I give it 4.
So I was considering a 4 for this. Like, it looks awesome. Lighting underwater is super hard. They're placed super well. My biggest qualm is from below her arm, he looks like a corpse.
Oh. Like, I didn't even notice that.
His hands are like, they look like death.
That's interesting. I did not even see that.
Which, that happens underwater. You lose all the color profile and the light saps out color. But I feel like if you want, in my opinion, if you wanted to take this up to a 4 level, if you like brushed in some hue and saturation
that would be so easy to do.
Yeah, that would kick it up for me.
Now, I say this every time we talk about portrait or wedding photography, but I feel like I should say it again. I am going to rate these images more leniently because as a wedding photographer, you're having to work with real life people who are hiring you to take pictures of them. If you're a commercial photographer, you are in charge of hiring the models. Yeah. You can Photoshop those people and make them look perfect, even if they may not be, but that's not acceptable for wedding photography.
Yeah.
So, if I were to say, well, this girl isn't posing exactly right. Well, she's not a professional model, so I have to give a little lenience to that.
Sure.
And so when brides come to your website, if you had only professional models on your website, they would think that's weird, and you might not get booked. You want pretty people on your website, but you don't want like fake people on your website. Yeah. So. That being said, I give this a 4. I feel like this is incredibly well done for what it is. I completely agree with you about the hands. Because it's wedding photography, it kind of makes me want to push it to a 5. But I think too, maybe with just a little bit more of an interesting color grade on the background, I think you could really add a lot more interest to this image. Because right now, it looks a little grungy-ish feeling, whereas I feel like you could add some like cyan blue to the shadow area in this water instead of this grungy green color.
Yeah. Both those things, the color correction would push it easily into a 4 for me.
But incredible pose by the groom here. Great facial expression. Like, I just feel like this was well thought out and well done.
Great job.
Community gives it 3.76.
Oh, well, that is a very high rating for the community.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Our community, if you're over a 3.5, that's like a 5-star image. Like in these community critique ratings.
Yeah. All right, so do you want to pick a number 2 through 20 for the winner?
Let's go with 15.
15. When we get to that number, you will win a free tutorial. That will just be the randomly chosen free tutorial. Are you ready?
I think so.
3, 2, 1.
I'm going with the 4 this one.
Interesting.
You went 3. For a bridal portrait, I think this is pretty stunning. It's very environmental. It's more about the sky, but like the way that the dress is floofed up, the lighting on her is impeccable. They've clearly lit the image with some flash and then photoshopped out whoever was holding it. But I think it's great.
Something fishy's going on with this dress. Do you notice the difference in color temperature on the dress? Do you think there's any way they shot this dress in the studio and then photoshopped just the dress on the back?
I mean, that's entirely possible. I don't know that there's much difference, though, in... I think it just might be how the light is falling. Like, I imagine that the strobe is a few feet from the... What's that? The right side of her face. And I think it's casting light behind her. So if you look at the top of her dress and then the back of her dress, that doesn't look too different to me. You know, and material makes up a little bit of a different in how the sheen comes off. The more glossy.
Yeah, but look how there's also like a hair light on the back of this train that's flying. Is this called a train? That's flying in the air. But there's no hair light on the model, which is very suspicious.
Maybe you're right.
I think some funny business is going on there. That's totally fine. I mean, you know, your client's not going to know about that. When I just talked a second ago about having to shoot real people and everything, I also think that you want good-looking people. Not that this woman's not a good-looking person, but I just feel like her pose and her facial expression is not as good as it could be, and she may not be the best model overall anyway. Not to say this doesn't deserve a place on your website, but one thing I'm seeing, she's got that resting bitch face going on. I feel like that's just the slightest hint of a smile is enough. You just don't want to look angry, and she looks a little angry. And then she's got that robot punching arm straight down to the ground. And so, I try to notice things like that when I'm photographing girls, and I'm like, hey, relax a little bit, like I think she's doing a nice job with her neck and shoulders. Sometimes girls are really stiff because they've never been photographed professionally before. So I feel like her upper body, other than her facial expression, looks pretty nice. But I'd just like to see a little bend in that elbow and then turn the arm a little bit too in towards the body. Right now you can just see that big inside of her elbow right there. And it's just making her arm look way fatter than it actually is in real life.
Yeah,
nobody stands like this in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with both those things.
And the other weird thing is, it's almost like her arm has been photoshopped like that, because I don't think it has, but maybe that's the way the human arm works. It just
straight out.
Look at the way her wrist is turned in towards her body normally, like it would be, but then it looks like her inside of her arm is out. So it's kind of, I don't know. I'm probably reading too much into this, but all of these things just give this photo an awkward feeling a little bit to me. Yeah. But the lighting, the location, and everything is pretty. And then
let us know how you did the dress, the train.
Yeah, let us know how you did the dress.
Community
2.88.
Oh, they were way more in favor of your rating.
Where do you think this is? This feels like
London. I mean,
Germany,
not London,
or
England,
something.
England, Germany, somewhere in Europe.
3, 2, 1.
2.
I'm in between a 2 and a 3 on this.
I can get on board with that. 2.5. It feels a little washed out to me. Maybe it's just the time of day and the lighting, and you're working with a a difficult situation. The toning, doesn't.
I think what feels weird with me is the car. It's a black car on what I assume is a somewhat dark ground, but the shadows are so pulled up that it feels really HDR-ish just on this car to me. If I look at, these houses or whatever, those look normal to me. If I look at the sky, that looks normal. If I look at the couple, that looks correct. But something about this car, it's like shadow highlight has been pushed to 100% just on the car. I'm not saying that's what you did. That's just kind of what it looks like to me. And so it feels a little cheaper to me. 2 in our scale represents needs work before it hits your portfolio. I would say, depending on how long you've been shooting, what other pictures, this could be in a wedding portfolio. I just think this should be one that should probably be swapped out sooner rather than later as you start taking better pictures.
Eventually, you'll have a couple that is leaving at a better time of day, and that might improve your lighting. That might improve just your options. But
well, there's also the decision that the photographer made to shoot wide here.
Yeah.
But there's really nothing going on in the background. It's just kind of this weird, ugly building off to the right. Somewhat interesting building to the left, but then the power lines and everything. It's just, if this car was on the top of a hillside with pretty clouds, kind of like the last picture, I think that would be way better than this location. So again, as the wedding photographer, you can't choose that. You just have to take all these pictures and deliver them, but you do get to choose what hits your website. So keep that in mind. Community gives it 2.49. So that's
Pretty
exactly
close.
where I would put it, in between a 2 and a 3.
All right. I'm going
3,
harsh.
2, 1. Really, a 1.
I think this could be taken by anyone in the crowd at a departure.
So Patrick and I always have this argument about what a 1 means and what a snapshot means. And there are snapshots that anyone could have taken that I still could say is a 5-star image, depending on what is happening in that moment. A lot of photojournalism is a snapshot that anybody could take with a cell phone, but like because of what's going on in that picture, it's a world-class image. So I don't think that I would give this a 1 at all, just because I feel like there's so much that I love about this, and really my biggest problem is the lighting on the guy's face and then the goofy expression on his face.
That's your only problem?
I love the bride. I wish she was lit a little bit better. I love the fact that all of these rice
flakes, whatever they are.
Yeah, I love the fact that they're either backlit or however they're lit with this dark background. I just feel like there's so much potential with this image.
Yeah, I dislike so much about that. I think the rice flakes and stuff are overwhelming. I dislike how many there are. It looks like he's getting pelted in the face, and he's just like, I don't know, it looks like it's getting in his eyes, and he's just like trying to
I have a problem with his facial
through.
expression. I agree.
I can't even see the bride. I don't know what facial expression she has. Like, I mean, if you zoom in, I guess she's,
she looks happy,
cowering and happy, and that's
happy.
fine. But like the lighting is just so harsh, and I don't like this pose or like composition, pose, image. Like it's just weird to me.
So the composition, I don't hate it. And you might look at this, and maybe people at home are looking at this and saying, that's a poor composition. He missed the correct composition, putting their head at the top of the frame, whatever. I see this as kind of an interesting artistic composition that could easily be cropped in if you wanted to. He chose not to crop in.
Well, the composition points directly to his weird face.
Okay, I agree. Listen, I'm 100% in agreement about his face. I couldn't put this image in my portfolio just because of his face. But imagine if he had an amazing facial expression.
Well, I might bump that up a little bit, like to a 2.
Okay, see, I'd give it a 3, and then
You wouldn't give that a 3 with the lighting.
Okay, but here's what I was going to say. With a little bit of Photoshop, little dodging and burning, and then the thing that always can fix lighting, not always, but a lot of times, converting it to black and white. Could you salvage it?
Maybe a little more. Would you, though, go in and clean out some of these?
I don't think I'd clean out
things?
anything, but I might brighten up the bride's face a little bit so it's even with the guys. But
Okay. There's just too much going on.
Okay.
With this.
Community gives it 2.02.
All right, I agree with you again.
Okay.
This one's tough for me.
3, 2, 1.
I was between a 3 and a 4 for this. I wish I could go 3.5. I figured you might go a little higher. I love this scene. I love the simplicity of the setup. Like, it's perfectly symmetrical. She's right in the middle. Gorgeous pose. I like the looking off camera vibe. I almost want to see a little more of her face, but then again, I say think the light is doing such a good thing to her face coming through that window and just highlighting her cheek and eyes and nose and stuff. I love that. So this is tough. Like I could be easily persuaded to go up to a 4 for this.
So, you know, again, if I had to rate this as a commercial image, I'd probably give it a 3.
Sure.
But for a wedding image, I have to say this is an excellent wedding image. Her looking over her shoulder that much feels just a little awkward to me. I would have loved to have seen just a few other shots, maybe where she was looking down towards the flowers a little bit more and not, I mean, I don't even know if she's looking out the window right here or she's just literally looking at that shutter.
Yeah.
It seems like if she was actually looking out the window, she'd have to lean back more, but it is working. I'd love to see a few more poses, maybe one where she's got her arm up on the windowsill and she is looking out the window or something, but I feel like this is excellent, and it's just a simple, beautiful shot that could fit in any portfolio. This could be in the best wedding photographer in the world's portfolio, and it would fit right in with the other pictures just because it's so simple and timeless. You know what I mean?
I think with that pose, something to play around with is that it's just that strained neck muscle right there that, like, if you can have them turn their body just a little bit, maybe that ruins the symmetry of the shot, or just create a little less of a harsh angle with the head. It diminishes that harsh.
And something else
tendon,
that I like doing with girls posing, I like for them to be able to play with their weight a little bit and balance on different parts of their body. She's obviously holding the flower with 2 hands.
Yeah.
She could have taken one of those hands and put it on the thing and then leaned on that shoulder, or the other one and leaned back on this shoulder. And that really releases a lot of tension in the neck as well. And it makes people look and feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
If you're having to sit like a robot perfectly straight up, it looks good for a little bit, but it just doesn't look as comfortable.
Yeah.
Community gives it 3.13, so they're with you on this one.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. I'm in between a 2 and a 3 on this one. I feel like this looks like exactly 1,000 photos that I've taken. I mean, I have so many pictures that are exactly like this with the backlit strobe coming through and the lens flare and everything. You know, I feel like this is all about the father of the bride here, but he's not lit that well to really see his facial expression. So because his face...
I disagree with there, but go.
Okay, because his face isn't lit as well as it could be, then the photo kind of becomes about the entire scene to me. And when I start thinking like that, then I start looking at like, well, why can't I see the bride's face? And why can I see this light stand or whatever this stick is behind her back? And so it just kind of like cheapens the photo a little bit to me.
I agree with some of the critiques on the overall image. Like if you could remove that light stand or maybe shoot it to where the light, you know, the bride is blocking the light, you know, just move a foot or 2 to your left and shoot it to where there's not that flare, because I find the flare actually distracting.
You don't like any flares?
This one's just kind of big and
it is.
In your face, and I don't mind certain flares, but this one I just don't like. There's too much light that's distracting.
Okay.
However, I do love, with the light on the father's face, my eyes go straight to his eye, and that look on his face is just so endearing to me, and like I think that's the emotion you want conveyed on your website. Like you want the brides to be like, man, I want that moment with my dad dancing on the dance floor. And so like that to me easily makes this a 3, just his expression and the light. Maybe if you had the light a little bit over and you had a little bit of that Rembrandt lighting on his right cheek, that would be the more perfect lighting, but I don't know. I like it. I think
there's something about the left eye, his right eye, that it just feels dark and like underlit to me, and maybe you could fix it with just a little dodging in Lightroom, but that's potentially my biggest critique, because like you said, it's all about his face here.
Yeah.
Community gives it 2.65, so we liked it better than the community. Wow.
Interesting. I'd be nervous to run through that.
interesting. Let's see, can we... So I'm just playing with the crop right now. I'm making it a vertical rather than a horizontal. All right, are you ready?
Oh, yeah, I think I am.
3, 2, 1.
3.
We agree?
I love this setup. I love the color balance. I love the light on them. I think what keeps this from being a 4 for me is there are just a few too many highlights on the right side of her dress and on his left side. I feel like if you drag that highlight slider down a little bit, you might be able to preserve a little more detail in all the white that they're wearing, and that might just keep their tonality a little more even. But yeah, I love this scene, and I love how symmetrical it is, and great emotion, great pose.
I completely agree. The first thing I thought when I saw this is, oh, they're overexposed a little bit. And I don't know if you really overexposed it and you tried to recover it in raw and this is as good as you could get, or if you could recover a little bit more of those whites, because everything about this is so awesome. Like you said, their facial expression, their body language is perfect. Like, it's hard to get both people looking this good in one shot. And then the other thing is, I feel like this is a vertical image. The black that's on the upper right and left side, and these ugly bushes that are peeking out from the bridge are really ugly to me. And so I would either Photoshop something in back there, put like just like a super dark blue dusk sky back there, and that would be enough to make it great horizontally, or just crop in, make it vertical, and then this image is freaking perfect.
Yeah.
Just
I do like that.
Recover some of those highlights, and definitely should be on your website. Incredible shot.
Either way, it should be. I just think it 3 to 4 to me, in my opinion.
Community, 3.2.
I think I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
3.
You gave it 2. I gave it 3.
2. I think I love the couple. The couple's pose. It's a good moment. This is clearly the venue that you're shooting in. I don't know if this is the actual kiss and the officiant got out of the way, or if this is what you did afterwards. But like, you're clearly, again, dealing with a tough time of day. It's super bright outside, and they're under some sort of pavilion or something. The background to me is just so distracting and bright, and the difference between that and the shadows that they're in, I think you can do better for a website image. I think maybe this is a good starter, and it's in the 2.5 level. Like, again, the couple looks great, and you're just working with what you've been given. But to me, the overall vibe of the venue and or the specific spot conveys a lower, like, overall photo quality.
I feel like you have done an incredible job of lighting this couple, and I don't know how this was lit. I don't know if there's a white ceiling above and you bounce some light above, but this is so evenly lit. It just looks great lighting wise. The other great thing, this pose cannot be done by most people. I would probably drop my wife if she. And when most untalented or weak people try to do this and the women don't fully commit, it looks horrible. It looks really hard. You know, they're like grabbing on because they don't trust you. I'm sure that's what.
No, they're pulling this off. It looks easy for him, and she's just like swooning into it.
Yes. So well done with this couple and this lighting. It's perfect. I completely agree with you. The background is not ideal, and I keep thinking to myself, what do I dislike about it? I do not dislike the trees in the background. I dislike this band of white concrete that goes right through the middle, and it doesn't seem like your horizon is straight. The whole thing is tilted just a little bit, so I would straighten everything up. And then I was asking myself, would I have lowered the camera to try to get rid of that gray concrete and just have the green trees back there, so that you have the dark brown wood floor, and then the trees in the background. I think it would be better, but then you'd lose a lot of detail in the dress and the train and everything, and you'd be looking up at them. So it's a very tough decision. If I had taken this in this location, like, I would have been thrilled. Even if I had decided, I don't know if it should go on my website. Delivering this to this client, I would have been very proud to give this to them, and I'm sure they're going to be really happy.
Although I'm not sure what is going on over on the right-hand side. Is this dusk and that's a groundskeeping light, or is it a weird Photoshop? I don't know.
Yeah, now that you mention it, there is some funny business going on the right side with weird, like, purple and blue blown out areas. Yeah, I don't know what the heck that is over there.
Anyway.
Community gives it 2.52 stars. That's probably right around where we'd put it. Three, two, one.
Two. This is kind of a similar problem to the last image, but worse, in my opinion.
Well, obviously, but you just gave them both the same number.
Well, the other one I feel like was higher. This is a low 2 or 1 level. Like, they're the same number, but this, I don't know. Both are not ready for your website, and both were not snapshots. So
okay, well, this one is such a simple fix. I mean, this is just a white balance problem. I have a million pictures that look just like this of the kiss during the ceremony. You obviously can't plan where that's going to take place, so you got to do the best you can. I feel like the exposure's fine, the composition's fine. It's just you got the right white balance wrong, and if you shot RAW, that should be a 2-second fix. If you shot JPEG,
it's harder.
You're screwed. But you should make it black and white. Make it black and white, right? But you should definitely never release an image where people's skin is blue and her white dress is blue when you can just make it black and white.
I would disagree with the composition. I feel like they should have definitely dropped lower and gotten rid of that headspace. Because if you drop lower, all this white band again is like running right into her face, and it's kind of cutting into her head and is really distracting. If you just made the background, whatever this forest, looks like a forest, muddled colors, if you just drop lower and make that more of the background, I feel like it looks a lot better too.
Community says 1.55. Wow. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 4 stars.
It's crazy because it's so blurry and grainy, but I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Man, this is like the most perfect capture of motion itself, and a weird moment that's just adorable.
I know. I mean, I could see this being the bride and groom's favorite photo of their wedding, and it's not even of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this photo could be used commercially or personally or editorially. It's like any type of thing to show a wedding, sell a wedding. This just tells this crazy story.
It's the story behind it. Patrick's always harping on the story of the photo.
Yeah.
This has a big story. And the funny thing is, no one's looking at her.
He is. Now, see on the left.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably all about to be pissed at her. Like, what are you doing, Kristen? Get back here. But this second, it's like the cutest thing ever. So I think this just goes to show. And, you know, speaking about black and white to fix things, the color on this is probably horrific just because church lighting is usually all over the place. So you make it black and white, all of a sudden it becomes timeless. You're not worried about the color anymore, and well done.
Yeah.
Community gives it 3.25. Three, two, one.
You were going to go 4.
I am going 4.
You're going 4. All right, let's debate.
It should probably be a 3.
I was thinking you were going to go 3, and I was going to push this to a high 2.5, 2.75.
Yeah, and maybe this is cliche now. Like, this is a photo when I was shooting weddings that people were not doing. Maybe this is a thing now, and so maybe.
Well, I've never seen something. I'd like super much points for creativity in my book. Like, this is really cool concept. I don't know exactly how this is lit. I imagine it's a window light, but that looks like ground. It looks like bricks. Maybe it's just the bricks.
I never thought about that.
I'm not exactly sure what's going on in the background there, but like creative concept.
Well, now I'm confused.
I just think it's, despite how creatively executed it is, I think that the light on her face is not. It's so hard that it's not particularly flattering, and then you almost don't notice the guy because it's just his head being shadowed like that.
So when I compare this to the last shot, there's no competition in my mind. Yeah. So I really should not be giving this a 4 and the other one a 4. Maybe the other one deserves to be a 5, and this one deserves to be a 4. The other one's a 4, and this one's a 3. I don't know. I like the creativity here. If this is creative, maybe every photographer is copying this. And then when you pointed out that the background has this weird slant to it, it doesn't look like a wall.
Yeah.
Well, then, I mean, you could just, this would be the easiest Photoshop job ever, and you could just knock this out, which is fine, because I'm not talking trash. If this is something that you do for every one of your clients, that's totally fine, because every client's new. It's new to them. Do whatever they like. But I because I haven't seen anything like this, I like the creativity. I feel like the bride looks a little uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You know, she doesn't look happy to see him. She looks like she's posing uncomfortably. So that's why it should be a 3. But cool idea overall.
Hair's just like
hair's like in her mouth. Yeah.
I'll stick with my 2. Let's see. All right, they liked it.
3.08. Okay.
So
yeah, 3 is probably where it should be.
Ooh.
Interesting flashes. How did that happen?
Is it a flash or, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's flash or LED, but I imagine it's a flash.
I am so confused. How is that possible? This has to be Photoshop.
I don't think it is.
How would it not be?
Look at like how it's lighting up his leg.
Look how it's lighting the table.
Maybe it is, huh?
And then how?
But there's clearly rim light on the cake. And then
I know what I think they've somehow done
is blended.
Well, I think that the couple is real. That's all natural light, and then somehow they have faked this darkening. I don't know. This is weird. I don't know how this is possible. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
I'm going with a 4.
Whoa, with a 4?
Maybe that's too high. Maybe
I was about to give it a 2.
Really?
Yeah.
We're switching sides then.
Yeah.
This probably belongs as a 3 still. This is so different and unique that it's attention grabbing. And for a cake picture, if I'm judging it in the context of the wedding day, I think this is a crazy cool cake picture. Like, there's emotion. The cake looks really cool. There's like confetti going everywhere. When does that happen at weddings? Like their pose is great for a cake shot. Like, I don't know. I can't find a flaw with this cake picture.
You can't find a flaw?
I mean, that I can really complain about. What are the flaws you see?
Well, okay. I feel like the photo, like, imagine that these black areas were gone.
I know, but that's not the photo.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Let me make my point. So we're going to crop past. I feel like the image, the middle part of the image with the couple is washed out a little bit. I feel like they should, just mess with curves and bring back the shadows.
Okay, maybe.
So that's a problem. But then when I just look at like what's going on here, it just looks totally fake to me. Maybe this is real. I'm trying to figure out what would create this look. It's almost like a laser beam lighting through smoke could create this and nothing else, because I don't get it.
But it's clearly, I think this is, you can't do this in Photoshop, I don't think. This is clearly not done in Photoshop, in my opinion.
Clearly. I mean, the weird thing about this is that the background is black, but yet the confetti is lit. Like, what's lighting the confetti, but what's not lighting? Like, see, there's like a table off to the right.
There's a light up above the flash,
How
filling the couple.
How is there a light near the photographer lighting this couple that is lighting up them so much that they are washed out, and then it's not hitting anywhere else in the room?
I mean, you're right.
It doesn't make any sense.
There is some Photoshop there, then probably.
Let us know how you did it.
That's interesting, but like, if that's, I don't know. That's fascinating.
You're blowing our minds.
It's a cool image either way.
Community gives it right at 3 stars.
Right. That's where it belongs.
All right. Whoa.
Speaking of Photoshop, I doubt you just dropped the rings.
3, 2, 1.
Solid 3 for me.
I give it 2, and here's why. It's just like the couple with the chubbier hands and the dirty fingernails. It's just details like that photographers don't really think about is all brides think about. I've had pictures that I love, and they go, "Ugh, that girl's dress is hideous." And if I hear 2 brides say that about one of my pictures, boom, it's out of my portfolio. It'll never be seen again because I don't want anybody having something negative to say. So, I just don't think this is the most professional looking background plate because of the hands. But I love the concept of the rings kind of floating above some scene, and I think the rings look great.
I think this fits a really good niche. I have to admit, I didn't notice how dirty his fingernails are. They are kind of gross.
Really dirty.
They're really dirty.
Really dirty.
If you take that away, this totally fits that like natural, light, earthy tone vibe to me. And while that's, belongs in a certain niche of marketing and whatnot, I totally think the execution of the rings is fantastic within that vibe. So like this definitely, in my mind, it belongs on your portfolio, maybe with the clean fingernails.
Okay, I think we agree with that. Community gives it 3 stars, so they like it a little more than me.
Good.
3, 2, 1. 2 stars. We agree. I mean, cool image.
Yeah.
Love that it's different, but it's it's overexposed. Like you got to get a correct exposure to put on your website.
And beyond that, I feel like if you had a little more interaction from the couple, that would do wonders.
Yeah,
like have them turn to each other, kiss. Like the background is awesome. Like those fall colors are incredible. Maybe you brought out the saturation a little too much, too. That's another problem was when the reds are like bleeding into everything else. But you can add some more action between them and kick it up a notch.
Agreed. Community gives it 2.2 stars. 3, 2, 1. Went 4, you went 3.
4.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an excellent wedding photo. Now, you have to keep in mind what vibe you want to set for your business and your website.
Yes.
Do you want to go timeless, beautiful, perfection? Or do you want to go party time, young, fun? There's very different styles of marketing that you can go down. And that's not to say that you can't do both on your website, but most people choose.
What you post generally attracts the kind of people that are represented in the pictures. So if you're posting fun party people, you're probably going to get more fun party people.
Yeah, and I love fun party weddings. Like those are the ones that I remember, and I become friends with the bride and groom and everything. But it's tough. Like what I chose to do when I was shooting weddings was I tried to go a little bit more timeless with the standard pictures and then more fun with like the dance reception pictures. This is more fun during, maybe right after the ceremony or something, which is totally fine. And I give it 4 stars. But just watch out because you're kind of changing your marketing if you're putting this on your website.
The one thing that's bugging me about this image, and it's probably the photographer was working, like he's already shooting at a very long focal length. Maybe this is 400 millimeters. But I want the couple to be a little. I want there to be more room on the bottom, just a little bit.
You want more crotch.
Well, I don't want it cutting right in the middle of the crotch.
Okay.
I want thigh cut.
All the crotch.
All the crotch needs to be in the picture, just to make sure that it's well balanced.
All right, everybody knows what you want now, David. Thank you. And the community gives it 2.85 stars. And this was the winner, right? 15?
15, yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I will also be in touch with you.
All right.
If you want a free tutorial. This is like your building shot that you were debating with Patrick the other week. The weird reflective stuff.
Oh.
I think I've seen the little contraptions that do this, though. You
you think this is like
of your lens.
Done on location?
Potentially. There are little, I think, contraptions out there that
shows
do
how
weird.
Dumb I am. I didn't even notice that.
I thought it was just.
I thought it was built like that.
Symmetry.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, clearly reflective.
Interesting.
So maybe it's done in post, but like I think it's done. It's too weirdly blended to do in post. I think this is actually done on camera.
3, 2, 1.
3.
We agree.
Yeah, I mean, cool execution. Obviously, it fooled Lee, so
it's not that hard to do.
It's
though.
a great way to get symmetry into your images. I know there's there's these like mirror things or like the ones that make it all blurry and like you put those little trinkets in front of your lens to like give some sort of image enhancement. So people who do that well, I love. It's maybe stereotypical or cheesy or something, but I don't know. I like how this is executed.
I do too. I love it. It's unique. I like how small the couple is. I feel like the pose of the couple's a little awkward again, though. I mean, you can just tell when somebody is into a kiss and when somebody is kissing because they've been told to kiss. And I mean, you can tell by looking at the bride's arm and how she's holding the flowers that like that's not a loving into you kiss. That's just the like, you know, and when the neck is poking out and you're just barely touching lips, like it's not a passionate kiss. So it pulls it from a 4 to a 3 to me, but I still think it's good. And when the couple is awkward like this and you make them really small, then you can use more of the pictures in your portfolio.
And with this, whatever, again, reflective thing they used, or if it was Photoshop, you're able to diminish weird parts of a scene, too. Like, who knows what was under that banister? Maybe it was all weird lighting and it looked horrible, but, like, they obviously made it look really cool by...
I've never considered doing anything like that, so well done. Community gives it 3.45. Ready?
I think so.
2, 1.
3.
3. I want to give this a 4. I feel like probably the reason it's not a 4 is the pose and the facial expression of the groom to me. I want to see him really going all out with the arms out.
And giant expression of
Yeah. And he feels a little uncomfortable. Like I don't trust you guys. So, you know, again, it's just that initial emotion when you see an image is so important with wedding photography. This one feels just a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, but well executed, good light.
Community says 3.11. Ah, the rings in the flower.
In the sunflower.
My specialty. I would put the rings in every
I have
flower
a shot
at
like
that
this.
wedding. Really?
I have a shot right in the middle of the sunflower.
3, 2, 1.
2.
Okay. There's a lot going on here that I do like. One, the little droplets of water or sap, whatever, on this flower. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
The problem that you have by putting the rings on a flower this big is that you're missing all the flower petals, which most people find to be the most beautiful. Then the other issue that you're running into is this is overexposed by a little bit. Hopefully you could pull that back. But it's also reflecting the color of the flower, which is yellow. And you don't want silver to look yellow.
Yep.
So that's a super easy fix. All you have to do is go in Photoshop or Lightroom and just desaturate and just go around and desaturate that yellow out of there. And then it will become like a nice...
Just within the ring.
Just within the ring. I think I would like to see a little bit different composition. If the camera was moved to the right and that made the rings go down to the bottom left, I think you'd be able to see some really beautiful yellow petals on the right side of the frame. And I think it would maybe make it a little bit more interesting. But there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like there was a ton of care. It seemed like the photographer just stuck in the rings to the middle of the flower and snapped the shot. Doesn't look like a ton of placement or thought put into
all right.
composition.
Community, 2 stars. Ready. 3, 2, 1. 2 stars. We agree. You know, great image to deliver. I'm sure the client loves it. But I just don't think it's the best image to put on your website. Just because, you know, some people have the cigar in their mouth and others don't. And like this guy on the left looks sneaky over the guy's head and the guy next to him looks pissed off. And then the 2 guys in the bottom left and bottom right don't have light hitting their face. And so it's just not a polished enough image, in my opinion, for your portfolio. But I think it's a fantastic party shot for this couple.
If you're going to do a group shot, this is obviously clearly shot with the 1.82 level aperture. Like the people in the front and the back are very blurry. So I imagine if you're going to do a group shot like this, you want a little more depth of field too, which is tough when you're low light.
Community gives it 2.29. Also, you notice it's hard to see when it's full screen, but you can see here there's a little edge of something on the very left side. Yeah, that should totally be cropped out if this was going to be on your website.
Final image.
Final image. I am having a hard time on this one.
Me too.
3, 2, 1.
3, 4. I was almost a 4. I love the mood. I love the expressions. Like the lighting is fantastic on both of them. The overall scene, though, is what kills it for me just a little bit. Like there's this weird trash can AC unit, something right behind her, and then I don't mind the fence behind her. Really, it's that, and then the weird shadow line cutting in to her on the right.
So I'm cropping in a little bit to try to... The thing that's bumming me out is the air conditioner thing on the left of her, you know, camera left, and then the dirt ground with the dead grass. That's bumming me out. So I want to be able to crop past that. But then when I crop past that, this wall just becomes bigger as I zoom in.
Yeah.
And then it
looks bad too.
Yeah, that looks really bad. I mean, this is done so well for what you had to work with.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, this happens at every wedding. You get everything perfect, and then it's like, oh, the expression isn't that good. Or like, I got the greatest picture ever of a wedding ring, but the ring's ugly.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, I can't put it on my website. And that's the situation that you're in.
But this is
here.
definitely website worthy. This is like the emotion and the pose, like totally.
I know.
But
so good.
imagine if this was like the rugged barn, and like the background was like a hill, and this was wood instead of like dented tin.
I know, it would be amazing.
That would take this to easy 4-5 town.
Yeah, I mean, I still gave it 4 stars. It's probably not 4 stars. It's probably a 3-star. But like, man, it's a really great image. I've tried to take pictures like this, and none of them have turned out this well.
Yeah.
Where you're getting the incredible expression from both the bride and the groom at the exact same time. It's so hard to do that.
And so well lit, and so like like the groom's in complete darkness.
I know, it's amazing.
Like, that's amazing. Like so well good, done. But
community gives it 3.23. That's probably
solid.
More what it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, just take this couple out and put them in any other scene, and it's world class. You know. All right.
Pretty much.
Well, thank you for watching, guys. These were an incredible range of photos, and I feel like both David and I have been wedding photographers for years. So if there was ever a critique that we actually deserve to speak on,
that's true.
This is the only one. All the other ones, we're full of shit and you should not listen to us. If you'd like to be part of the next critique, where we have no business critiquing your work whatsoever, check the description. You can upload your photos right away, and we will be doing a critique next week.
Let us know, too, if you have any ideas of genres that you feel like we haven't covered.
Yeah, that's true.
We would love some feedback, because it's getting harder for us to come up with new ideas of what to throw out there.
I agree. We'll see you next time.